Hey friends, what's up? Welcome or welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I am looking back at probably the first or one of the first videos that I posted this year, and I'm just doing a recap on my 2022 goals, looking back at that video, seeing what I wanted to accomplish in this entire year, see what I did do, what I didn't do, and then just, start off on a clean slate. We're kind of reflecting together. If you saw last week's video where I talked about preparing for the new year and doing a bit of reflection, that's kind of what we're doing here. So sit back, relax. Hopefully this gets you inspired to do the same after you watch the video, but yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I just finished watching that video from January of 2022, and essentially what I did was categorize my goals into 3 big categories, and then I talked about smaller goals within each of those categories. They're not small. Some of them are really big, some of them are really small, but you get the point. So the 3 categories that I mentioned in the video were personal, work/business, and health. So I'll go into each of those categories, talk about the 3 goals that I had within each, and let's see if I met or did not meet those expectations, those goals. So starting with the personal goals, the first one was to implement more slow living. I'm looking down because my phone is right there. But yeah, the first one was to implement more slow living routines and habits into my lifestyle, and I don't think I need to explain this one too much. This one, I really give myself a check mark because I am now Slow Morning Diaries. And so like this whole entire platform is a reflection of me implementing more slow living habits and routines. So I really accomplished this one on a huge level. I maybe exceeded expectations there, and I know I have a lot more to learn in 2023 and years beyond, but I have to say I'm really happy with myself and the strides that I made in 2022 when it comes to implementing more slow living habits and routines. And if you want to see more about that, you can see it on my Instagram, you can see it in my YouTube shorts. Like, I'm really showing you the different routines and habits that I've been implementing. So success there for sure. The next one, however, was to learn a new language, to learn specifically German. Now, I completely failed at this goal. 100% failure at this goal. I feel like I may have gone on to Duolingo for a couple of months out of this year, and then I completely forgot about it. So that's just a big X mark. I failed 100%. And I feel like I'm not the only one who may have failed at learning something new or learning a language specifically like on Duolingo and stuff. So let me know in the comments if you are on the same boat as me there. But yeah, that's a big X. But the last one in this category was to furnish the house and set up the backyard space. So if you didn't know, I moved into this house in May 2021. I'm pretty sure it was 2021. It hasn't been 2 full years yet. And I wanted to furnish it gradually and slowly. One, because I'm on like a budget. I didn't get that kind of money to just fully furnish the place all at once. But 2, I wanted to really enjoy the process of furnishing every single room and not rush the process. I wanted to make sure that I get like really nice pieces that I'm going to be happy with for a very long time. So I feel like I've accomplished that. I have furnished basically all of the office, not so much the bedroom. The living room was like the biggest project, and I think I really succeeded there. I feel like it's pretty much complete. Maybe just a few more home decor specific type things instead of like big pieces and stuff. But I feel like I've accomplished that. At least I'm happy with it, and I kept to a budget throughout the entire year, and I feel like I stuck within those budget parameters. So success there. And then the same part of that small goal was to set up the backyard space. And in the initial video, I actually emphasized the garden. I thought that I was going to be working on the garden in 2022 and fix up that entire space. I wanted to have like a little greenhouse, set up the raised beds and stuff, and just have 50% of the backyard just be dedicated to garden space. And surprisingly, I didn't work on the garden space at all. I ended up working on the other 50% of the yard space, which I wanted to dedicate to seating and entertaining. I don't know how that happened, how that completely switched up, but I'm still happy with it because we completed that 50% of the yard. We have the fire pit area, which I've shown a lot in Instagram reels and stuff, as well as the pergola, which Ian ended up building in the latter half of this year, but it looks absolutely stunning. I also shared that on Instagram and on TikTok and stuff, and it just looks great. So even though it was the 50% that I didn't expect to complete in 2022, it's still 50%, and I still think that is considered a check mark. So I think of my personal goals, 2 out of 3, that's pretty dang awesome, and I'm very, very proud of myself to be completing those 2 out of 3. And yeah, I think I can carry over some of the things here. But moving on to the next category, which was work/business. This was a big one because this had my largest goal in it. And that large goal was to go full-time with my content creation. Now, at the time I recorded the initial video, my platform was called Pies and Pros. It's no longer called that, obviously. I think you can see that I'm now called Slow Morning Diaries. But at the time, my content creation and my business was in a whole other different space. And I have to take that into account when I'm talking about completing this goal, because I did not meet the goal of being completely full-time with my content creation. And I mentioned in the initial video that I really did not want to be disappointed with this goal. I wanted to make sure that I completed this goal above anything else. And I didn't. However, I am giving myself some grace because my platform went through a lot this past year. I completely shifted niches, I completely shifted brand names, and so that's a lot to transition out and into something new. And I'm not completely disappointed with myself. I feel like I've made great strides in my content and my content creation, and I'm really proud of the quality of work that I'm consistently putting out, and I feel like I'll just get better and better. So 2023, I have a feeling it's gonna be it. It's gonna be the year. So I'm not disappointed. I'll give myself a half check mark for that. And you know what? Given all of the stuff that I've gone through, I'm happy with it. But the next thing that I had in the work business category was to build my newsletter. So this one is a little funky. I don't know why I put this as such a big goal, like why I even mentioned it, because my newsletter, it used to be an email newsletter, and then I shifted over this year into Patreon, where I used Patreon as my hosting for the newsletter. I just felt like it was easier to do it that way because, I don't know, I just like Patreon. Even though it is completely free, you can do a paid option, but it was free. And I don't know why I prioritized this, because I definitely consistently posted newsletters on my Patreon throughout the entire year, but it wasn't my focus for the entire year. And this also goes back to like all of the shifting that I had to do with Pies and Pros and niches and stuff like that. So of course this ended up falling back on like my priority scale, but I still don't understand why I put this there to begin with. But I'll give myself a half check mark for that as well, because I did consistently post newsletters throughout the entire year, and I do have a set of loyal patrons on there, but it wasn't a huge priority as perhaps I thought it was going to be in 2022. Anyway, the last thing in that category was to scale back. This is a big one also. So it goes without saying, with a newsletter and, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, a blog, all of these things, I do a lot. And I think at the beginning of 2022, I was doing 10 times more than what I'm doing now. And so, scaling back was a big thing. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing too much because I was putting myself in so many different hats and not being able to create the best quality of content. And I think I made great strides in this as well. I stopped doing things that were like deliberately burning myself out. I prioritized my mental health as opposed to just churning out so much content that I couldn't even keep up with myself. And so I think I did a pretty great job this year compared to other years where I've been doing content creation. And I'll give myself a check mark in that. I will say in 2023, I'm gonna have to scale back some more because I still do too much. I mean, like I want to work on a podcast. I had this whole food blog and YouTube, and I may scale back on that kind of things. But yeah, there's more work to be done there. But I'll give myself a check mark because I think I did pretty good, relatively speaking, when it comes to past years that I have been doing too much. Okay, moving on to the last category, which was health. The first goal that I had under there was to move every day, and I didn't give myself a strict goal of like intensely working out or exercising every single day, but simply to move my body every day, have some dedicated body movement every single day. And maybe I can't recall every single day of the week for the past entire year, but I will say I have moved a lot this year, more than any other year that I've done since maybe college. So definitely giving myself a check mark there. I moved a lot. I did a lot of walking. I did different kinds of exercises. I really put in an effort to do something at least every day, at least as far as my memory goes. And I think as soon as I got this under desk treadmill, things really got amplified. And I move more than ever before, I feel like, at least in my adult years. So I'm super, super proud of this accomplishment, and I just want to like amplify it even more in 2023, but we'll get to that next week when I talk about my New Year goals. And yeah, I'm really happy with this success. But the next thing in that category was to eat more plant-based meals. As you know, I am vegan, but I also am like a junk foodie kind of vegan. I'll eat a lot of faux meats and cheeses and stuff like that. And I think this year I really struggled with, you know, on and off again trying to complete this goal. So I'll give myself a half check mark, because in the beginning half of the year, I don't think I was as successful. I still ordered a lot. I still got a lot of faux meats and cheeses, and it's just, you know, those things are really delicious. And so it happens. And I feel like in the latter half of the year, which is right now, I'm doing a lot better. I don't think I've talked about this before, but I do meet with a dietitian, and I now like meet with a doctor regularly. So I feel like I'm holding myself accountable a lot more than I did in the beginning of the year. And I'm happy about that stride. So although I didn't completely get there in this year, I made huge strides in here as well. So I would consider that a partial accomplishment, and I'm really happy with the direction that I'm going in. The next thing that I have in this category was, or it's the last thing, was to have a consistent skincare routine. Oh my gosh, this one is a struggle. This one is a struggle. I have dealt with a lot of skincare problems this year, and I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. I've been really privileged to have really great skin in my teens and adult years. I didn't really have acne or breakouts and stuff like that, like not since I was in elementary school, and then I just had fantastic skin for like most of my life. And this year specifically, my skin has just been breaking out constantly, and it's really been putting me down, and I just don't know what to do but to be patient. And so I have been pretty consistent now, but for most of this year I've been jumping from product to product trying to figure out what to do with my skin. So I wouldn't say that I've accomplished this goal pretty well. I wasn't consistent at all. I really did experiment with a lot of different things, and perhaps that was not to my benefit, because you should really be giving your skin time to adjust to things. So it's just another thing to work on in the new year perhaps, but that's okay. I feel like I accomplished, out of these 9 goals, I accomplished most of them. I think I did pretty good. Some things have room to improve. Other things have a lot more room to improve, but I think I'm really happy at the fact that I didn't completely drop off of all of these goals, or most of these goals. I think the one that I really just simply dropped off on was learning German, and that wasn't a big priority. Oh, and the newsletter one. Those weren't big priorities. So it was just something to challenge myself. So I think for the ones that really mattered, and I think you can tell by the tone and my excitement in some of the ones that I talked about, the ones that really mattered, I made strides, and that is the best that you can do. If it's the best that you can do, then it's the best that you can do. And I'm really proud of myself for sticking to a lot of these goals. It's a lot of goals. So that is all for this week's video. A lot of chatting, but in next week's video, I'm going to be talking about my 2023 goals. Maybe I won't have these many goals. Maybe I need to scale back on goals as well. I have a problem of doing too much, but I hope this was helpful. I hope this gave a realistic view into someone who tries to be as productive as possible, but isn't always productive, but you know, does their best. And I'm excited to hear about your goals. Let me know if you've already started working on your 2023 goals. Let me know in the comments what they are, or you can wait till next week when I talk about my goals. Maybe they'll inspire you to come up with some of your own. or let me know in the comments how you did with your goals this year. If you completely failed, which I feel you, I completely failed on a few of mine as well, or if you made like really, really great strides and milestones and achievements. I think even the smallest bit of effort counts. So let's celebrate in the comments. But that is all for this week's video. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you in next week's video.